So Florida State came on top against Syracuse 33-30 today, and this is the instant reaction with me, Kevin, and Coach AB. Coach AB, how do you feel about this game? How do you feel about the first victory of the season?
Saying your volume's a little low, so crank your volume up a little bit if you can.
All right.
First win of the season. I mean, look, you can't feel bad about a win. I've never walked away from a win and been like, "Oh, that really sucked." They're not easy to come by in any sport, especially in football. They're even more difficult, especially in today's landscape of college football, where it's like a couple of elite teams and then a lot of other guys. So yeah, sweet and sour victory. Yeah. There's obviously a lot. We're gonna have our thoughts on what kind of went on in the game and what we didn't like, what we did like. But I mean, ultimately, look, a win is a win. This program desperately needed it. You couldn't go to 0-5. And you're sitting there a couple plays away from being 4-1. As crazy as that sounds. So yeah, I mean, I'll take it. What about you?
Yeah, so I got to watch this game from the box, which is a nice little vantage point. You really get to see all the different coverages and stuff that they're
Yep.
running. Um, So overall, I felt very similar to how you felt. This doesn't really change how I see this team. I think I was a little bit higher on them than most were coming out to an 0-4 start. Obviously, I made that video earlier in this week that, in a way, defended them, saying that they're winning the yards per play battle,
Hmm.
but they're just losing the plays that matter. I
Right.
felt like this game was actually the opposite. They won more of the late downs than they normally do, but
Yeah.
they weren't as successful in the early downs. I felt like Syracuse had an easier time moving the ball, especially in the second half. But this was just the opposite of what I said. That they played a decently clean game. They converted the third downs that they needed to convert, and they won a football game. So
Yeah.
as much as I want to sit here and be like, be a curmudgeon and be like, the scare we had in the fourth quarter where I was thinking we're about to go 0-5 and this will be just a catastrophic start to the season. I do have to give them credit for fixing some of the issues that were pointed out in this past week about
Yeah.
this team.
Absolutely. And you know what? Uh, They finally caught some breaks.
Yeah.
Like the Andrew Parchment play. Like, how many times is that going the other way for six over the last couple of years? The non-call and the holding penalty at the end of the game when Jordan Travis's big scramble. Like, I mean, that was pretty blatant. They didn't throw the flag. I mean, how many times have we been flagged for those holding calls here lately over the last whatever many years? So it does take luck to win, especially when you're not a very good football team. And we finally saw a little bit of luck tonight. Like, holy moly, I didn't even know how to handle it because we haven't been lucky at all. As a matter of fact, it's been the opposite, and the unluck has kind of played into a reason why we've been losing games.
Yeah.
So it was nice to get a couple breaks, and really nice. All right, let's you were in a box. Give me a couple things you took away tonight that you were happy about.
So I thought the defense, at least in the first half, did a good job of mixing up coverages, giving different looks. I think that was a big reason for their early success. They came out showing a lot of man, but they would roll late into cover four. The Sam linebacker Jamie Robinson did a good job of getting underneath receivers. You saw that on one of those third and longs that looked like it could have been completed, but it was into double coverage. That was because all night Jamie Robinson was doing a good job of getting underneath those
Yeah.
deep in those
Mhm.
dig routes they're commonly called. Uh, they did a fair amount of match quarter stuff. So especially against trips, I saw a lot of what's called special or stubby coverage. So if you want to know more about that, I made a coverage piece on an Adam Fuller coverage piece that you could go check out earlier this year. But all in all, I felt like the defense, from my perspective, performed pretty well until they didn't. Until Syracuse found that
Yeah.
they could get their quarterback out in space. We didn't have the linebackers that could really trail him or keep him kind of contained. Our defensive ends weren't in contain. I guess I don't know by design if it's the linebackers or the defensive ends that are supposed to keep that
Yeah.
guy within the pocket. But either way, no one was doing it, and that was where they got a lot of their offense from.
Right. Yeah, we'll know a lot more about that stuff once we do the film review.
Yeah.
And then some we won't know because we don't have the call sheet. I wish we did, but yeah, I mean, it felt like once Syracuse figured out they could bring that big fullback in the game,
Hmm.
they could out leverage us on the edge with some of that outside zone stuff, and then they could play pass off of it with some boot game. And they realized that Schrader could outrun any linebacker that we had out there not named Deloach, and they were able to get him matched up against Lundy. They were able to formation against Lundy and against Gainer, and they out athleted those guys. We overplayed the run a little bit sometimes on that backside end. I'm sure they'll talk about that this week coming in, but we overplayed the run a little bit. But look, this was a team you had to stop the run against. They did
Yeah.
an okay job. Um, they started to get a little weird there at the end in the fourth quarter, but I did think they did okay. I just don't understand, and I wanted to talk about positives, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. I don't understand how in the hell, after this many weeks, we are still having coverage breakdowns on that boundary side when they're just trying to play some simple cover two, some quarters over there.
Yeah.
I don't get it. At some point, somebody's got to have to answer for that. I think it's going to be Adam Fuller probably with his job at the end of the year, but it's simply baffling to me after this many weeks and games that you continue to have that miscue. It nearly cost you again. Yeah, I mean they've got to answer for it. We've got a couple questions here. If Travis gets hurt, who do we run with Chuba to keep the mobile quarterback playing? I think they probably. It looked like Milton maybe could have gone as like an emergency situation. I think they wanted to go with Travis because they know they need to be able to run the football
Right.
to beat teams. They can't line up and throw the ball. We could barely complete a simple slant with some of these wide receivers.
And that,
The offensive. Let me put it very bluntly: the offensive personnel is god awful.
yes.
This is as lacking of talent of a group as I've seen at Florida State ever, and I've been watching since like 1990. So, return game is complete disaster. Chet Dog, oh man,
Yeah. I have
it
no
simply
answers
is.
for you.
We talked about in our Tomahawk Nation Slack that somebody's got to ask Adam Fuller, like, look, at what point do you tell these guys to start doing the old bear catch because we can barely get to the 20.
Adam Fuller,
And again,
Papuchis?
Papuchis, yeah, but I would like to talk Norvell. Norvell's the man that has the final call.
Okay. You said
Talks
Fuller.
about, did I? I'm sorry. Yeah, well, he's on the brain right now. Yeah, but again, you look out there at the personnel that's out there, and you start to see the absolute holes that there are. Officials want assists. Yeah, I mean, you can make that argument, William. I mean, it's not. You're not wrong. They certainly helped out. Weird groupings on offense, running a lot of 3-back, 2 tight end. Yeah, I mean they're just trying to get their playmakers on the field. I mean,
Yep.
who else at wide receiver do you want to see out there? Help made a couple plays tonight. Parchment was non-existent again outside of the one play. I think some of that is he's got a little chemistry with Milton, not necessarily with Travis. McLean he looks like Tarzan, plays like Jane a little bit. I think he's got to continue to learn. He's a young kid. It's tough to come in as a freshman and play at this level. So he's going to continue to learn, hopefully get better. They just don't have enough. They don't have enough of those guys that you can go win in the passing game with. But you can throw the ball to Corbin, Toafili, and Ward and make some plays with them. This team simply can't simply play cover two, and it is embarrassing. Yeah, it is kind of embarrassing.
Yeah,
at this
I
point,
was
Justin.
when we're when it looked like we were gonna lose in the fourth quarter. My brain was thinking, the video this week might just be cut ups of Florida State players doing this before the ball snap, and say, you guys decide who's to blame on this one because
the back end's frustrating to watch.
yeah, I guess I'm not as low on this defense. It's just hard because it's like for 60% of the snaps in a game, they'll look like a really top defense, and then they'll just look utterly lost for the other 20. And it's just like how why can't we string together a full game? And I think it has to do with just there's just no playmakers. There's no one that's going to get you off that field that's going to make you that play when you need it. Every team's going to give up points, but you just gotta.
Did you think they carried the effort over from Louisville, second half of Louisville? I mean, that was a big narrative out in the amongst FSU and social media and whatnot. Did you feel like they kind of carried over the effort and kind of some of the determination and whatnot that they had in that second half
I
into
think
this game?
I think what they did this game that I actually liked wasn't trying to carry over any sort of momentum, but it looked like the one thing I will say super positive about this team, this game, is that it looked like they came with a plan, and they looked like they came composed. There was
Yeah.
less penalties giving away free first downs,
Yep.
less. There's one false start, but other than that, there was less false starts that just, there's one holding that wasn't even a holding, I don't think. In all, I think they came more prepared to play a solid game and let Syracuse beat them. And
Yeah.
Syracuse almost did,
Yep.
but at least you're putting that pressure on Syracuse to perform instead of just losing the game yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they came into the game with a really good plan. I thought they
Mm-hmm.
were executing that plan really well. I didn't think they came off of that plan well enough, and I think some of that goes
Yep.
back to whatever there's a lack of communication, a lack of understanding with some of these guys. I don't understand why. Syracuse figured out though how to get to those linebackers. They struggled to get to those linebackers at first. Really through the first quarter, and then into the second quarter, they started to find some of those chunks in there, chinks in the armor. They were able to kind of start attacking some of those linebackers, and that really is what teams are always trying to find: how to attack the safeties, how to attack the linebackers in this defense because they're the worst position group.
Yep.
Um, you saw a lot of bodies rotating through at safety. You saw a lot of Jarquez McClellan tonight. Yeah, I don't. I thought that they got too scared of Schrader running the football, and it got them out of a lot of the man stuff that they want to
Yeah.
do. I thought they could have gotten into some more man and really pressured him early and often. I thought when Schrader got pressure in his face, he really kind of crapped the bed, and they really struggled. For whatever reason, they didn't do that. They started to get to it on that last drive. They brought that nickel pressure, got him. I can't remember if they got him a sack or they got him a
Yeah, they,
throwaway.
they did bring pressure in that last drive, and I think that's a big
Yeah,
reason they got that stop.
yeah, and that was something that Adam Fuller was kind of known for and was kind of his bread and butter coming in. He wanted to treat defense like offense and be aggressive, and we haven't seen as much of that. So I'm hoping maybe he's gonna get some of the confidence to call some of that stuff again. I thought this was an opportunity to really kind of heat them up a little bit, especially in the second half as they were getting into a rhythm. And you had some situations there. You had the fumbled punt. You had the goal line stand where you get the ball in the 6-inch line, go 3 and out. You get the ball again, go 3 and out. You were working with a short field, but I still thought bring some pressure, heat him up a little bit. This is a kid. This is a kid who's shown he really can't throw the football very well.
No, the throws he made were usually pretty open.
He was athletic, but you were showing that you could beat their offensive line consistently. So I would have liked to see more of that pressure, heat them up a little bit, try to lock those guys down the outside. And if he beats you running, then he beats you running. But I think if you're bringing 7 or you're bringing 6, you're going to do a good enough job against them to kind of keep him contained.
Here's my thing. So the linebackers and DBs are poor in coverage, to put it mildly. There is a lot of truth to that statement. However, I will say a lot of their passing success came from the fact that the defensive ends and whoever was supposed to be keeping the edge on the backside of the play action rollout passes wasn't. And so if you give that kid all day, if you give the receiver enough time to cross the field on a crossing pattern, I don't care who you are, like the defensive back's going to lose that more time than not. So on one sense, yes, the linebackers and defensive backs did fail a lot and are not where they need to be, but also there's some nuance to that where you can't give a quarterback 30 minutes in the backfield and expect your defensive backs to hold up.
Yeah, it's just not. William Flynn, what's Dabo losing his mind about? I saw something. They kicked a field goal from the 1 yard line. Like, you guys, let's talk big picture here. Like, that is the epitome of losing football. I cannot believe that Dabo's got the talent that he does, and if it's true that he kicked a field goal from the 1 yard line, I don't know what the hell's going on at Clemson because that's pretty sad.
Well, the best position group they have is, or the worst position group they have is the most important one. So
I don't care. They've got a better quarterback than we got. And we kick him.
I do not believe you. I do not believe that one bit. I would not trade JT for DJ Ukulele.
I think you're nuts. So, yeah. I don't,
I
I don't,
think DJ
I don't,
Uwangalele is
I
not a
don't
very
care.
good football player.
I take him right now. All right. So offensively,
You want to score
let's
7 points a game?
let's get into shit. I mean, come on.
Um,
Let's talk about offense. What'd you like? What'd you dislike on offense tonight?
I thought the game plan was pretty cohesive. They went early to a lot of these screen passes, and even though they didn't work, they set up those screen passes set up 3 different plays that ended up being successful for you later down the road. The post touchdown to Keyshawn Helton. I think at the end of the first half,
Yeah.
they set up the quarterback draw that we saw once or twice off of that. And most importantly, they set off that little dump off screen pass. So, you know the one I'm talking about, DeCorbin.
Yep.
So the game plan was cohesive on the offensive side of the ball. Obviously, with Jordan Travis as your quarterback, you can't have you can't have negative plays, and that happened once or twice at the beginning of drives, especially when we wanted to keep the defense honest and take shot plays. But it is what it is. The offense just is there's if you have wide receivers that can't block screens or get open on routes, I don't know what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, we can't run a simple slant because we can't get open on it. Uh, it's tough. It's just tough to ask these guys to do a lot. You're having to scheme so much open in the passing game. But people got to understand too. I mean, they really played with 5 guys at 7 yards deep for the majority of the game defensively. So one of the reasons you were throwing so many screens was they were giving you 3, 4, 5 yards, and you're hoping that somebody can break a tackle and go the distance. That's why you're throwing them out there to Pokey, who I know, he's getting killed tonight, but he's shown the ability to make a couple moves and get down the field. You were throwing him out there to Toafili. He did a nice job of RPO, and I thought some stuff open to Cam McDonald. Would love to see him make a block there on that interception. I mean, that 100,000% is on him. Don't let anybody tell you different. All he's got to do is block. As a point man, he's got to block that guy. He stepped outside, gave up the positioning, and the pick was on him.
Right. Yep. That was totally on Cam.
Yeah. Why did Ward only get 2 carries? I mean, Ward got more touches than just 2 carries.
He got 4 catches, so they were trying to get him out in space. Clearly.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, you got to understand that some of those catches are an extension of the run game, and there were a lot of shorter stuff. You were able to get him, on the field with Corbin at the same time. I mean, you look between the two of them, so 6 catches. Corbin had a couple of catches, and they probably had roughly 30 touches between the two of them, which is what you want. I mean, you're going to want that out of them. What J-Trav had 13, 14, 15 carries in the game too. So, I mean, you're looking at 45 touches in the run game just between the 3 of them.
And a lot of these are passing plays, but those dump off screens to Corbin is a running play.
Yeah, it's a run
dump
play.
off screen to so between Corbin and Trayshawn Ward, they had 9 catches.
Yeah.
So you got to add that into the rushing play. So I mean, they're touching the ball half the time. So
I know people want to see more and more carries and more and more carries and more and more carries, but you got to think about some of these plays as more than just a throw. It really is an extension of the run game. Ward had 7 touches for 95 yards at one point. Maybe give him a few more. But look, I mean, you're also handing the ball off to Corbin in some of those too. So, and look, the design of your offense with some of this RPO stuff is you need to take advantage of those numbers to get guys out of the box so you can hand the ball off to Ward and to Corbin. So when you are throwing it out wide, it may go for a yard, may go for 2 yards. It's about keeping guys honest. It's about giving yourself an advantage somewhere else. You've got to force teams horizontally to respect you sideline to sideline. If they don't do that, they just keep 6 guys in the box or 7 guys in the box or 8 guys in the box because you're not willing to throw it out there, then you're screwing yourself. You're doing your offense a major disservice. While we talk about the lack of playmakers out on the edges, you do got to throw it out there just to keep everybody honest.
Right, and that's why they got him out there. That's why they tried to get to Ward and Corbin out there even to catch balls. I mean, you're just.
I would like to see this offense right now as it's currently designed, with 100% Jordan Travis, because I think with 100% Jordan Travis, he was nowhere near 100% tonight. That's why you didn't see them running him as much. With 100% Jordan Travis, I think you see a lot more explosivity in the run game. I think you see a lot more. We haven't seen midline really at all this year. If you watched this and were with us last year, you saw us talk about it a lot. They ran a ton of midline against a three-man front. Midline's great.
Right.
You just leave that nose unblocked. You send everybody up to that second level, and you've got a big play there. So yeah, I would love to see this offense now with 100% Jordan Travis. Hopefully he's healthy coming out of this game. I think you'll see him again next week against UNC. Teams are clearly trying to take him away. Yeah, they just need to keep building. I mean, you need to hopefully Maurice Smith gets a little healthier. Robert Scott, who's been killing you, continues to get a little healthier. Your guards get a little healthier. Darius Washington's the only one that's really playing halfway decent and is halfway healthy. It's tough to run an offense with guys up front that there's not a lot of cohesiveness because they're not practicing together very much week in, week out. They're banged up with different ailments and really, struggling physically to be out there. They just got to get some health on that offense. I think we'll see them take another step. Your wide receivers are going to continue to hold you back to some degree, but they're finding ways to scheme these guys open. I mean, how many shot plays did we miss tonight with Travis just not putting it on him? There was a couple posts to McLean that I can remember.
So let me give my perspective on this Andy Kane. I've seen this come up a couple times in the chat.
Yeah, that's what I was just reading.
But I totally have a different perspective than AB, I would imagine. So human beings, psychology, people don't respond to negative reinforcement quite as well as positive reinforcement. So
not at all.
It's better to emphasize the positive than to harp on the negative if you want to see change in people. So while it might not jive with the old school perception of what a football coach should be, psychology disagrees with that.
Yeah, just to add on to that, I mean, first off, I 100% agree.
Okay.
Mike Norvell cannot go up into a press conference and say all the things that we're sitting here saying. He can't go up there and say, well, Keyshawn Helton can't beat press coverage. Andrew Parchment can't get deep.
Right.
Lee McLean doesn't know where the hell he's going. He can't go say those things. We can sit here and say them, but he can't say those things. Maybe he can off the record. He can't say them. So all he really can talk about is, well, we need to get back to work. We need, they worked hard this week. I mean, Andy, at some point, this team didn't work hard for 4 years. So,
right.
I mean, hell, baby steps at this point, my man. I'm glad we do finally have a team that will work hard off the field. We need to get some more talent in here, some guys that will translate what they're doing on the practice field onto the game field. But, I mean, shit, I'm just happy with that at this point. I'm happy we got a team that does practice well because they do practice well. We see plenty of it. Shock Dre Traff. Yeah, I'm a little shocked he's finished. Did any O-line propose tonight? No, I don't think so. If they did, hats off. Good for them. Glad they're getting married. Hope they know what they're getting themselves into.
Yeah, this would have been a better choice. But
that rollout and past 10, 15 yards got us every time. It's like we can't guard short pass plays ever. What's happening there? Was it? I mean, it's was a contain issue with your end and potentially a linebacker, but it was also your linebackers just not being very good.
Yeah, it's all of the above. People being left on islands. Defense
Safety,
is like a chain.
I mean, and it was a lot of time. Safeties not holding up well. Brendan Gant being out of position. Well, how many of you guys paid that maybe were there tonight or paid attention, saw a lot of Keir Thomas just digging in dudes' behinds on the sideline, especially Brendan Gant. I know some of the guys that from Tomahawk Nation that were at the game were DMing or were talking about in our Slack chat that after Gant's blown coverage, did that one lead to a touchdown, Kev? Or was it a touchdown?
The completely blown coverage, or
the one that Gant blew.
I think that was a touchdown. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
If not, it got called back.
Yeah. So he was. Yeah. I mean, Keir Thomas just absolutely blasted him on the sideline. I think one thing we're talking about hard work and maybe a long way about getting to this is we are starting to see some player-led practice stuff going on, some player-led team stuff going on, which is going to, in the long run, you get that instilled in the long run, that's good for your program.
I knew I'd get some hate for what I just said.
All the crap his team did wrong.
Yeah, well, Nick Saban can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, Nick Saban's the greatest football coach probably to ever live, so he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, he doesn't win because of what he says in post-game press conferences. He wins because his players are better than yours. I think, like,
Trust me, Mike Norvell holds these guys accountable as in practice when they make mistakes. Um, Kev, the current generation appear to not process negative reinforcement. My generation handled it pretty well. Yeah,
yeah,
there's a lot. There's a lot of helicopter parents. We like to call them lawnmower parents now because they just mow everything over that gets in the way.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, pigeons also respond better to positive
Hey,
reinforcement than
what the hell the
negative.
blue
It's
chickens
a
say?
thing. Hey, there
Oh
you
man.
go. Go
Oh, Delaware
Delaware.
Blue Hens. Let's go. I think they got a
Yeah.
dub today.
Oh, message was retracted.
Must have been foul. Love the play from Jamie Robinson. Yeah, Jamie's really kind of come on. I mean,
Yeah,
you
he.
guys, if you've been watching our stuff, I'll let you, Kev. I'll let you give your thoughts on it here in a second. I've been high on Jamie since he got here. I thought he was a guy that they needed. Kev, what did you see from up in the box?
Yeah, they were running a lot of cover four tonight, especially to the field. So he would play to the field a lot, and one of the most important things with that cover four is the underneath the safeties in the corners. Right, you have two safeties, two corners deep. Underneath is just a lot of area where potential throws can be made, and I saw Jamie Robinson just flying around over there, and he was making those throws tough, and that's what you need. Yeah, that was the first time in years of watching this team where I saw an underneath defender
Yeah,
doing his job on
yeah, he
pass
was coming
plays.
down from that free spot. I mean, he clearly was doing a nice job of reading what was going on. How about the amount of mesh they ran in the first half?
Who? Florida State?
No,
Yeah,
well, I was a little
Syracuse.
disappointed Florida State didn't run it
I
at
was
all, but
sitting.
yeah, Syracuse.
I was sitting next to my boy Tommy, and I was like, "Guess what? They're gonna run right here. Any third down, it was
And they
mesh.
did, but I thought we actually. You talk about Jamie Robinson. I mean, I thought they actually started playing it fairly well.
They did.
As after they saw it a couple of times, I thought they started reacting to it better. Which, look, I mean, we've been critical of Fuller here, for what was going on and some of the miscommunication. But that is a positive that you were able. I mean, that's a play that's killed you for 3 weeks. Really, second week, third week, fourth week, and now you've come on and you've started to adjust to it. You're getting guys reading it and right and reacting to it better. That's one of the tougher pass plays in college football, and I thought they handled it pretty well tonight.
It's a broken play, and that's why
Yeah,
every team in the country is running it. You get a free pick on third down, like that's like a pick route, a offensive pass interference. It's free and it's technically legal, and so every team's going to run it. But yeah, they did a much better job of covering it. There was once or twice at the beginning where they let it flow, but they did a pretty good job.
and mesh is a play that picks on your linebackers, and guess
Yep.
what? Everybody should do that against Florida State. Was that lateral play that Parchment scored on supposed to be a double pass? No, it was a bubble to Pokey. He just boned it, I mean short armed it, and really they were lucky that it was a lateral. Parchment picked it up and ran it in. I mean, that was dumb luck. There's no other way to put it. Yeah, let's talk about special teams. Because I'm seeing some special teams chatter here.
Yeah.
I don't understand, and I'm hoping. I know we mentioned it earlier, but I'm hoping it'll get asked this week. Why we continue to run kickoffs out of the end zone and not fair catching them and getting the free 25? That our guys have shown no ability to do anything, blocking it, returning it, no matter. I mean, they've shown no ability at all to do anything. I'm hoping that there's some press on that this week and we can get an answer. Mike, they spent a ton of time on special teams. The results are not there. Some of that's talent oriented because you're not playing as many of your starters because you need to save those guys because you don't have that much depth. But woof. Yeah, the coverage teams are not great tonight either. I thought in general they were very soft. I watched Wyatt Rector one time run down there and he just kind of pussyfooted with a guy and it just didn't
Hey,
look
you're
pretty at
talking
all.
about multiple touchdown having
Yeah, whatever.
Wyatt Rector.
Yeah.
One more thing about Nick Saban, because for some reason we're having this argument. The guy's one of the best X's and O's coaches to ever live. He literally invented or helped invent match man defenses that are the cornerstone of most modern spread defenses. The dude knows what he's doing on every level of the football field.
Oh, and I get what see, you want your coach to sound like Saban because he says all these great things and all this. He's fire and brimstone up there and gets pissed at the media when they ask him a dumb question. Look, that's not for everybody. Like everybody's got to handle their team different. Nick Saban's got a team that's been set in stone for how many seasons now? 15. I mean, I don't even know how long he's been at Alabama. He's been there a long time now. He can do that at Alabama,
Right.
and he can he can kick guys off at Alabama. Mike Norvell and Florida State are just a little bit different.
I mean, Dabo can sit there and say dumb things for years and still win games, so
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter.
UNC or UM better chance of winning. I think UM
UM.
if
Yep.
King's not playing. Yeah, I don't know if he can block them. We'll see. We need to see where everybody's at when that game comes around. You obviously going to play harder. The blue chicken. Now, look, the blue chicken gets my respect all the time. Is Travis the best playmaking runner on the team, or do we grab another playmaking runner on the team, and do we grab another quarterback and move Travis to receiver? I don't see Travis going to receiver.
No.
He'll transfer first.
Yep.
He's already let Mike Norvell know he has no interest in playing anything but quarterback. Appreciated seeing Fuller using the whiteboard on the sidelines between series. Yeah, I mean, I think Adam Fuller tries really hard. I don't think there's a ton to work with back there. I don't think there's a ton of buy-in back there.
I think that's the biggest problem with Adam Fuller right now. It doesn't seem like people trust his system.
Yep. I don't think they want to do what he wants them to do because I don't think they believe in what he wants them to do. So ultimately, that's on him. How do you coach receivers to block? Our receivers. I thought our receivers blocked. Our receivers blocked really hard tonight. Actually, I mean, I know we missed a couple, and the Cam McDonald one's a big one. Shout out Cam McDonald was supposed to do some stuff for Tomahawk Nation, but it never really happened. Yeah, I mean, I thought they really worked hard. As a matter of fact, Keyshawn Elton kind of sprung that 40-yard run for however long it was for Travis at the end with his effort in blocking. Andrew Parchment does a great job blocking. Same one. All right, dude. Hey, man. Have a good night, Andy.
Yeah, no, we enjoy your comments here, Andy.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, we're getting off topic.
Yeah, you're not going to get the answer you're looking for here. Really needs the temporary transition used. Yeah, I agree, Patrick, on going to a little more option. We said that last year. We were one of the first two to kind of jump on that they need to go to that run spread option attack. I don't know how much you can trust Jordan to stay healthy. I mean, he wasn't healthy tonight. I don't know how long you can count on him in a game if you're running him over and over and over again, which is what's going to end up happening if you go to some of that true option stuff. But I do agree they need to I thought there was an opportunity for some lead draw tonight with him. They had 6-on-6 in the box. I thought they could have inserted a running back up on a linebacker and let Jordan kind of get loose, especially as deep and as quick as the coverage was bailing. Oh, good.
Cooper looked a little lost once or twice. Yeah, there was one time when he was in cover 4 and he didn't come up despite not having anybody in his zone. That left an easy first down. But that's a young kid, young mistake.
He's learning.
But
Tron, are you talking about Josh Farmer? You put Josh Freeman. Are you talking about Josh Farmer? If you're talking about Josh Farmer, yes, he did play tonight. I don't think he played a ton, but he did play some. I thought the D line was great tonight. Really. I thought they played spectacular, as they've played spectacular all season long. You did so without Dennis Briggs. Would have loved to have had him. Would have been another piece in there. But, yeah, I mean, you got some good quality depth or play from some of your depth tonight. Jarrett Jackson played a ton of snaps. Not a guy that we've ever been really high on. He showed up and played pretty well for the most part. Got to work on that contain against some of these mobile quarterbacks. Going to really need to up the pressure next week against Sam Howell. Gators still down 7 with 5 minutes left. Let's go. They're playing Kentucky.
All right, man. I think it's probably about time. It's been about 30.
We got 90 people in here, man. They love to hear what we got to say. No, seriously though.
Yeah, it's for the sake of the people watching this on YouTube, we're gonna wrap it up. But just give me some closing thoughts. Where do you see this team going? We haven't touched the UNC game much. Hopefully, I'll have a preview video on that later this week. But what do you think about this team after this game?
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same. I think they're a team that's going to be in a lot of ugly games. I don't see them being blown out a lot. Maybe UNC will because they've got an elite quarterback. Florida's a really good football team, but I think a lot of these other games you can be in and you can compete in. It really is going to come down to kind of some of the breaks that you can get. Can you continue to not kill yourself with penalties, being behind the chains early, turnovers? Turnovers really allowed this to be a game tonight. And then can you, can you find some cohesion on that back end of the secondary and on that front line up front on your for your offense? And I think if you can do those things, you can take another step. I don't know if that means you're going to suddenly win 5 games the rest of the year because we do know how difficult the schedule is. But look, I'm just looking for them to really compete week in, week out, look like they've got a chance to win a football game. If they do, they do. If they don't, they don't. Whatever. I mean, it's not a very talented roster. This is a staff that's still really working to find themselves and to get through to some guys. But just show me that you can go out there and compete week in and week out against this tough part of the schedule that's coming up, and beat UMass. Just beat the hell out of UMass, please. What
Yeah.
about you, Kev?
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. It doesn't change a lot of how I see this team. I think I'm a little bit more optimistic that they're not going to totally shoot themselves in the foot as much, which I
Yeah,
think, in my opinion, was the biggest growth that I wanted to see in this team this
yeah,
year. Just a maturation process of not committing penalties on critical third downs, not having complete busts. Obviously, there were a few of those today. Like you don't, you know, the pyramids weren't built in a day or whatever. But I want to see this grow, continue. I think today was a step forward in the sense of this was the cleanest game I've seen them play in probably 2 or 3 years. In the sense of just penalties and mistakes, besides maybe the Notre Dame game. But yeah, I mean, shoot, you might not win another game besides UMass for the rest of the season, and that's okay as long as you're in it, as long as you're
right,
fighting in these games,
right.
um, as long as you keep UNC and Miami relatively close. I think you can look back and be like, all right, this was a 2-win season, but this was a season where these kids, these young kids, grew, developed, and became better because you're going to have almost all these kids back next year, right? So it's just a learning process, a growing process, and uh, hopefully this is a year where you can bring the locker room together and start to have one identity. And I think today was a step forward in that.
Yeah, I agree. That's a tough thing to say out loud that you're just looking for. I don't want to say you're looking for more victories, but you're looking for effort,
Right.
and you're looking for competitiveness. But the roster is what it is. Some of the coaching issues are what they are. They're things they're going to have to get addressed in the offseason. I don't think going out and addressing them right now is necessarily the answer, even though we would like, some of us would like to see that. Um, but just continuing to see Mike be able to get these guys to show up week in and week out and work hard during a week, I think is a step in the right direction. And that's really what we're looking for in a long rebuild. And we said last year was really, year -1, which makes this year 0. So I think you're on track. You're losing, lost by a lot last year, losing by a little this year. Hopefully next year we're winning by a little every game. So
Yep.
we're going to go from that. I guess we're going to call that a night. We love you guys. Thank you so much for the support. Seriously, it's amazing that we can get on after a football game and talk with 80 different people that show up, and the however many thousand of you guys are going to watch us later on YouTube.
Yep.
It really does mean a lot to Kevin, I, and Trey, who joins us on Triple Option. It really is very humbling that you value our opinions and value the things that we got to say. So thank you. Enjoy this win. Go Noles.